Well, hello, and welcome to Trash with a capital T, where we give trashy books and movies the love they truly deserve, and some deserve more than others. I'm your host, Bobby. New videos are posted here every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you like what you see during the video, give me a like. Makes me feel good, and it helps the channel. Also, if you want to see more of my content, subscribe. I can always use more subscribers. So, today, this is a obscure series that for some reason has become just one of those series that is embedded in my life. I found it back in, I want to say, the early 2000s. And it's just the jokes from the series, the characters, all of them, they're part of my humor and my personality. I'm not going to say personality, but that's just something that I've always kind of like have cherished memories attached to it, which is really weird because it is an adult cartoon. It is a hentai. Yes, it is a very, very soft R-rated hentai, but it is considered hentai. And it is Rei Rei Missionary of Love. That is the English title. It is, I think it also was released as Rei Rei the Sensual Evangelist. I have never seen it named that, but this is a series that actually has been released pretty widely around the world. It is the license for this one has hopped for many different companies, but it's always kind of been in print. And I know people know it because they've probably seen it, like seen the box, but I don't know if a lot of people have watched it. And for younger anime fans, I have no clue. But for me, it was one of those shows that I found, and it just felt like I get it, and it gets me. This is part of my humor. So the general plot is you have Kaguya, who is the Missionary of Love, or the sensual evangelist. She lives on the moon. She's a supernatural being. And she notices that the moon and the earth are drifting apart, like lovers drifting apart in a relationship. And it's because she feels the earth is losing her lover because the earth does not have enough love. So she is going to Earth, and she is going to help couples resolve their problems to increase the amount of love in the world. So she is a supernatural couples therapist, essentially. And she, in the 2 episodes, deals with a couple with this young man who is in love with this girl. This girl is not in love with him. She's in love with this female doctor who is secretly trying to steal her money and murder her. And it's this big, goofy plot. There's some gender swapping. It is lots of adult humor, very funny. And then the second episode is a young man who has a problem with intimacy due to unresolved mommy issues. And because of that, Kaguya has to enter this man's mind and through a video game, essentially, try and help him work through his issues with intimacy. And outside of the fun concepts, what actually really makes this work for me is the dub. So this was originally released by SoftCel Pictures. I actually think the initial VHS release was actually by ADV. For older anime fans, you will recognize ADV or AD Vision. For younger anime fans, ADV eventually, after they initially shut down, the people from that group became Sentai, which is now High Dive. High Dive is their streaming service. And many, many moons ago, back in the VHS era, they used to have a division called SoftCel, which handled adult anime or hentai. Now, the way they handled hentai was they would get shows almost exclusively from Pink Pineapple. I think they worked with some other people, but mostly it was Pink Pineapple. And generally, they would get shows that were on the softer side. And they would edit these shows and do a general release. That was a white tape release. And that release would include a more R-rated soft cut of the material. And those tapes would be released to Suncoast Video. They would also do an uncut version, which was a red tape, which was released to other vendors or was through mail order. So they handled series like Rei Rei. They also had Can Can Bunny Extra, New Angel, the Angel of Darkness series, which you could actually, I have, if you look back there, I have one of the ads for Angel of Darkness from when it first came out. And then they also handled some stuff from like Toshio Maeda, like I think they did the Twin Angels or Twin Dolls series from him. So they sometimes got a little bigger stuff, but generally it was pretty soft material. And Rei Rei definitely fits that mold. This is very R-rated, even in its uncut form. We're not talking night shift nurses or Bible Black. This is, oof, I just bumped my table. This is pretty squarely sex comedy, but like not really pushing a lot of boundaries. And that's part of the reason I like it so much. It's very funny. It is a little dirty, but it doesn't feel gross. The humor from the dub sells it. So the dub on this one, it's all the ADV regulars, all using pseudonyms. So I'm not going to use any real names. Although if you go into Anime News Network, go into their encyclopedia, they do list the actual voice actors. But it was a lot of people who were very prominent in the industry at the time doing the dub for this. And they just kind of go. There's a lot of improvisation in there. It feels close to Ghost Story. It's not as over the top or as wild as Ghost Story, but that humor is in there. There's even a Mike Dikta joke where a guy comes in the second episode when he sits down and he's like, so how about them bears? And Kaguya just goes, Dikta must be sexual. And I don't know why it cracked me up when I was a kid. But built into the show, there is also a character named Pee-Pee. That is actually his name. He is this little like goblin dude who is Kaguya's assistant. And whenever she floats down to Earth from her moon home, he floats down behind her, kind of swimming through the air, just going, don't forget your pee-pee. My husband and I still quote that to each other because this was a show I showed him very early on in our relationship just to kind of gauge like what kind of entertainment I can get away with showing him. And he thought it was funny. So I was like, okay, he can handle my weirdness. Good sign for a relationship. But yeah, it's fun. It's funny. It's still widely available. So if anything I'm saying here is interesting to you and you're old enough to handle it or watch it, I definitely recommend it. And definitely watch the dub. I will say the Japanese voice cast they're not a slouch. The voice for Kaguya in the Japanese dub actually went on to be a fairly major voice actress. She still works to this day. She plays Ren's best friend on Detective Conan, which is, or as a lot of American audiences know it, Case Closed in the Japanese dub. She's part of a major franchise. So, and she started out with Pink Pineapple doing some of their lighter series and moved on. It's not uncommon. I mean, Kikyo Noe, who am I thinking of? The voice of Belle Dandy in the original Oh My Goddess or Oh My Goddess, she actually started in an adult series called Ogenki Clinic, which if you have seen Ogenki Clinic, it is bonkers. And actually for the longest time, the Japanese language version of that show was not available in English because they didn't want to release that with her voice on it. It's available now, but it wasn't for a very, very long time. That's a little side tangent. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about it because it's one of those things that kind of shaped my sense of humor, or it felt like this validated my sense of humor. It's dirty, but it's not mean, and it's not like gross. It's just kind of spicy. And I like that. I like that kind of material. I don't like anything that doesn't... It takes a lot to shock me, but if I'm watching something and I want to enjoy it, like just as a viewer, I'm not talking about like in the dirty sense. If I'm watching something, I want to enjoy it. I don't want to feel grossed out. I don't want to feel shocked and horrified all the time. And this just fit that, where it's like, it's playful, it's fun, it's spicy, but it's not mean or cruel. It's all about these characters finding love. Like, it's about a character coming to Earth and helping find love. And there's something about Kaguya as a character and her mission that just sticks with me to this day. I love her as a character, and she's very fun and playful and strong, and like I that resonates with me. I wish they were able to do more with the character. I believe there was a PC game, which was probably just like a very short visual novel, and I believe there was like a short manga, but none of that has come to the US, and it'll probably never come to the US. Who even knows if it still exists? But I wish there was more done with this character, because I think the concept of Kaguya is just wonderful, and there's the possibilities for storytelling are kind of amazing there. So I feel that character connected with me when I watched it initially, which is weird because it's a tiny little 2-episode goofball show. But I don't know, that part of it, that the whole mission being to help people fall in love, to find love, and to kind of work through their stuff so that they can be better partners. It just seems like a great concept. especially because of the humor that's mixed in with it. And the humor from the English dub really does elevate it and make the material way more enjoyable. But like I said, it does not go as far as Ghost Stories. And if you know the Ghost Story dub, that dub goes into South Park territory. I love that dub. I love that show. I actually also like the Japanese version of that show. It's a really fun series. But the English dub goes into South Park humor kind of territory. Rei Rei does not hit that hard. Although there is a Song of the South joke where in the first episode, I was not ready for it, where the young woman who's in love with the female doctor, and she's like, don't you remember when we would dress up like characters from Song of the South and you made love with me? And then after she gets poisoned, as she's like dying in this restaurant, she chokes out Bluebird and falls over. Yeah, if you can't tell, I really do adore this show, and I highly recommend it if you're over the age of 18 or 21, whatever works. And you feel like the material is something you can handle. And considering some of the stuff I've covered on this channel, like Fireworks Woman or Emmanuel, this is very tame in regards to even those. Even like compared to something like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. This is pretty tame. So, highly recommend it. Check it out. It's still widely available. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, because I know there is at least one streaming service. Let me see. I have a notepad. Or I finally got a tablet. My husband gave me a tablet. I don't think it is streaming. No, it's not streaming, sadly. I know there is one streaming service that handles some hentai releases, but... Okay. Well, on that note, with that recommendation, I'm going to wrap this episode up. Still highly recommend it. Probably going to talk about that one of these days, but that one I need to think about the best way to talk about it. So, all right, guys. Housekeeping all over again. New episodes posted every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you like what you see, give me a like. Makes me feel good, and it helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, which is all over the place content-wise, subscribe. I can always use more subscribers. And as I always say, and hopefully I say correctly, love what you love, enjoy what you're reading and watching, and have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.